Hello, everybody. Welcome to a very special episode of Internet Dads, because we don't just have a guest. We have the most requested guest in the history of this illustrious podcast. I'm delighted to be joined by Mr. Robbie Knox.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Never done that before.
No. We've had other guests on, and she's booed.
Wow.
So that was huge.
Yeah. Well, I'm honoured. Thank you.
No, you have actually been. I'd say every single episode that we've ever put up of this podcast, your name has been mentioned and hugely thumbed up.
I got mentioned on the podcast the other day.
Yeah,
I did.
I know.
I do listen. I'm not like I'm not heard everyone, so don't quiz me or anything. But it's not like just when people say they listen. I do actually.
That's fair.
And what do you think this support, this Knox army, this Tartan army of Knox fans? What are you putting this down to?
I think I've got a sort of role as sort of. Like the other day, it was Alfie Indra's wedding, who was on Happy Hour podcast.
Yeah.
And the night before, Ellis Platten messaged me and said, "Have you got any cufflinks?" I mean, that's kind of my role in British YouTube.
Yeah.
The guy who might have cufflinks.
It's a very important role, though.
I'm just a bit older than everyone else.
It's a safe bet. Also, do you know when he asked you, there's something great about being that person. He knew you had them.
Yeah, I didn't have any.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
Yeah,
Mate, but I look like I might have.
That's your role. That's who you are.
I think this is the first time we've ever had a majority moustached panel here.
Yeah.
2 out of 3 moustaches.
There's a lot of. I mean, I'm more unshaven than perhaps I've ever been, just because I haven't been to. I need to go to Savers.
To be fair, we're in East London. You know, you are a minority by not having a moustache.
I know. Yeah. This is the most facial hair I've ever had, but it's kind of a good day for it because you're both looking very hipster.
It's interesting your role as this uncle, because I had I'm a little bit younger than you, but I'm still old within the sort of YouTube generation that I came up in, and I literally had the people Uncle Spenny was used to call me in videos all the time because
you're very mature as well.
Yeah,
I think it's just really that when I came up in YouTube, it was fairly early on, but I was still like 5-6 years older than most of the others. And I took on that little role myself a little bit, but yeah, it's interesting because obviously YouTube's well established now, and for anyone that's not familiar with Robbie, by the way, I mean you've had a long career, many different things. The first time I became aware of you, I'm sure, was a lot of your first kind of notoriety came from obviously Soccer AM.
Yeah, worked on that for 7 years. Yeah,
7 years in the absolute pomp of that show as well, right? The prime time, which was the biggest football show in dare I say the world. Like everyone was all over it. We have a mutual friend in Neil Smythe who ended up working with me at Hashtag for many years, but was part of that illustrious kind of group as well. Obviously, Tim Lovejoy and Helen Chamberlain being the main faces, among many others. But then, actually, let's start with that because, would you say it was a controversial move when you sort of consciously started concentrating on YouTube content?
Well, I did. I left Soccer AM in 2007. And then we went to do some internet TV thing where we spent like £3 million.
Channel B.
Made no money and got kicked out, yeah.
Ahead of its time.
Ahead of its time. That's what people always say when things don't work, isn't it?
No, but it was.
No one ever goes, it was just awful.
You guys were like, we need to do something on the internet. So this is my personal thoughts on Soccer AM, is that from a Sky perspective, once that dream team disbanded, they kept trying to recapture the magic recipe by just putting different people in different roles. And some of them were great talents in their own right. But it's a little bit like Hashtag and our thing. People are always like, how do we do what you've done? It's like, well, you don't do the same thing. You do something completely different, because that's what Soccer AM was. It was different. And I think what they missed a trick on is it not being a fully like internet-based show. Like you look at people like Tom Green, who then got copied by like Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan cites how ahead of his time Tom Green was. Tom Green never made big money from his live show, but it inspired so many people. So I think you were onto something with Channel B. I think the world wasn't ready for it.
Yeah, I think so. And it was like there wasn't stuff like to watch the videos you had to download a player. It was so early. Like it's like how annoying. Imagine if you went, I'm going to watch this video, I have to literally install an app to watch it.
Yeah, sort
of thing. And it was when people were like scared of YouTube. Now everyone just put things on YouTube as well. But it was like, oh, that's a competitor rather than something you do together. So yeah, okay, that's.
But that Soccer AM period, it was actually a phenomenon, wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
Like the power of that show. Like, you know, I remember, were you on it in the era of Save Chip?
Yeah. So that was my idea.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
That was huge, because I remember going to Stamford Bridge and it was a thing there. Yeah. It was a thing. People were there with homemade placards, Save Chip.
Yeah. It was basically a campaign. Like Tim had a friend, Chip. I mean, I'm doing the bit where I tell the listeners, because you guys aren't doing your job. It was a thing. It was professional. It was a thing where Tim's friend Chip his girlfriend Sarah wasn't letting him watch the football, and so he had a campaign, Save Chip, to allow him to watch football. But yeah, they were like in Coronation Street in the background. I'm a Liverpool fan. When Liverpool won the UEFA Cup in 2001, I think.
Yeah.
It was on the front of the bus when they were going through a safety banner on the front of the bus with the team on it.
So that is probably like viral kind of movement before the internet really took its place with it.
We ended up getting the stars on the England badge because there weren't stars on the England badge. We had a campaign.
That was you guys?
Yeah, it was us.
That's unbelievable. The cultural crossover is mad. Isn't it? I mean, I used to buy the DVDs. There were DVDs of the best bits.
I had that, and there was a lady called Pearl Heenan.
Yeah, Pearl diving.
I loved Pearl Heenan.
Yeah,
there was. I had the. It was a
great
video.
Yeah,
but my favourite bit of this video, it was like a 90-year-old Australian diver. And she used to go, now I'll do the backflip, and then I'll do. And she would go.
Decent.
She wasn't.
She'd just fall in.
She'd just fall in. Then I'll do the dive.
But she's 90, so it's still good for her. But
it was amazing. Yeah. And her name was Pearl Heenan. And I remember, like, people would come to my house, friends would come round, and I'd say, I've got to show you this. Yeah. And I'd put the tape in, I'd fast forward it to the Pearl Heenan bit because it was so funny.
We're really showing our age now. We're talking about tapes and fast forwarding.
Yeah.
I thought I was being more modern with DVDs.
Yeah. Third Eye was. That was you as well.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that was. I think that would have been a Third Eye that we'd spotted that somewhere or some. There was an all sports show that we had for a bit, Soccer AM's all sports show, and I think that might have been on that. And then we just played it every week because we found it so funny. We ended up just having to like buy the clip off. I think it was Transworld Sport or something. To go, can we just show this every week?
Well, Transworld Sport is another one. We used to watch that on the weekends. Very different show, obviously, and then so many things. But so you had that whole experience, massive like exposure in the world of TV, and like a really, really popular show. And then so Channel B happened and you got a little bit exposed to the internet and you were like, okay.
A little bit there. And then, I started doing sort of freelancey stuff because I think I remember I met you around that time.
We did something back in Fenwar, I remember.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. FIFA, you're right. We did things like that. But I never thought of doing YouTube because I didn't really watch it. And in my head, like I go to YouTube when I wanted to like learn to rewire. I don't know why I'm using rewire a plug. I've never rewired a plug in my life. I don't know if you still do. But things like that, if I wanted to learn something, I do that. But I didn't really know that there were all sorts of things. And then I was out at Watford's training ground filming Troy Deeney with Will Brazier. With Will.
Yeah.
And he was saying, why don't you do a YouTube channel? And I was like, I'm probably a bit old for that, mate. And he said, I don't want to sound rude, but I know what it's like being an 18-year-old starting uni because there's 50,000 vlogs every September like this. I don't know what it's like being middle-aged. I was like,
Will was the catalyst.
Yeah, Will was Will's idea.
I had lunch with Will last week. He's a friend of mine.
His sound Will.
Yeah.
But he, so I thought, okay, well, I'll do a video a week for like 6 months, I think it was. And then if I enjoy it, I'll keep doing it. And I just did. Yeah.
And you took your place as kind of this, like you say, this uncle.
Yeah.
Guy. And then, I've watched a lot of your content over the years. I've been in some of your content before. It's, you've had loads of different things, whether it's the kind of walking content that I used to enjoy. That's what we did. We went for a walk in the woods. It's very good. Check it out if you haven't seen it on Robbie's channel. But obviously you got that kind of, how would you describe your content now?
Like I've tried to be a bit more professional now. It was just like a mess. I feel sorry because someone would come along because I've done this really in-depth skiing video and they go, okay, subscribe to this. Then the next video pops up and I'm like taking out the bins and they're like, unsubscribe. So every time I put a video out, instantly those people go, no. And I go, yeah, you're right. I'm on your side. sort of thing. So I've tried to sort of focus on doing stuff now, essentially. So whether that's traveling or a lot of it's drinking. Weirdly, the things that tend to do well seem to be things where I go drinking or things where I open expensive stuff.
But people love that on YouTube, bloody hell. And there's a bit of movement at the moment. We're seeing a lot of these card collectings going on as well, isn't it? Like all the boys, whether it's Pokemon or football player cards and stuff, all the sidemen are getting into it. Like they're going big on it, spending a lot of money. But I think I'd describe your stuff as almost like naturalistic, right? You're you're very very funny at the reality of life, and that's kind of what we trying to do this podcast, is expose people to the reality of being parents, obviously, and we'll get into your life as a dad because it's a big part of your life, I know. But one thing I think you're phenomenal at is your ads. Like when you have a brand integration, if you haven't seen them, you need to watch them because I think that should be the industry standard. Like you put so much time into them.
I hope there's some brands listen to this. No, they're real.
Honestly, you put so much time into them and it like really comes across like, certainly in the early days of your channel as well, like you really tell that, like, because obviously we all know what it's like starting a YouTube channel.
Like,
a brand deal is a really big deal, like it could be really helpful. And you was like, it really came across and it wasn't like, the audience would be sitting along going, oh God, another ad. Like they're good to watch. So I think that's a really good way of doing it.
It's kind of the job, isn't it? Yeah. Because that's what's paying, for people who don't know, that's where most of the money comes. It's more than ad revenue, YouTube ad revenue, stuff like that. So I think you've got to kind of put quite a bit of effort into it.
Yeah. If it's a skill though to make them watchable, not many people do it. So
yeah,
well done.
I did an advert this in my last video, and it was for like My Heritage, and I filmed it on a holiday. I was by a swimming pool and I had shorts, and you can sort of see up my shorts. You can't see anything bad, but you can sort of see up with it. I was thinking, shall I zoom in or something like that? I thought, do you know what? If I don't zoom in and don't refilm it, that's at least 50 comments and engagement. So I thought I'll just leave it in.
The brand approved it, did they?
Oh, they were fine with it, yeah.
Because I've got a pal we used to do, a guy called Mike LaBelle, lives in America, and we used to do this FIFA thing together. And he used to have this, like they talk about, what's it called, peacocking? Like it's the idea of if you were trying to be impressive to the opposite sex, you'd go out and you deliberately wear they used to call it flair, I think.
Oh, yeah, or you carry a book with you or something like that, yeah.
Some silly shirt. A conversation starter, basically. Right. He had a similar theory of YouTube. So, like, every time he'd be in a video, he'd wear something ridiculous that was not to his tastes, but it guarantees interactions in the video. So it's not a bad...
You ever seen Turkish? Do you know Turkish, who does the Arsenal content? Yeah. He's a really good YouTuber. His ads, they really make me laugh because he will do it straight after a match. And the tone of the advert will be completely dictated by how Arsenal have got on. Yeah. So if Arsenal have lost, which invariably happens, if Arsenal have lost, he'll do the ad read and he'll be furious and he'll be like aggressively telling people to go and download whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then sort of angry with people, just like angry with the audience. Like, can you idiots just go and download this stupid app? And he just really
But they're the best ones. If you get a brand that like allows you that freedom.
Yeah.
I think they're the best ones.
Yeah, he does it really well.
It's good when you sort of say something. I don't say if you don't want me to do this, but can I do this?
Yeah.
I did Huel for the first time the other day and said, can I at the beginning say, I'm going to do my best Stephen Bartlett impression with someone. And then they, so I got the guys with to go say, start telling me a really sad story. He goes, yeah, well, when my uncle died, I was like, have you ever had a Huel?
They were on board with it.
Yeah, I like Gary Neville's approach to it as well. Gary Neville, if you ever see like the behind the scenes, it's hilarious. Like you can just tell it's take 23. Just like there is a whole comment channel waiting to be made about people's brand deals.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. That's why if I have a deal that I want to do something a bit different with, I always try and push to the brand and say, this is better for you. As long as you're not doing anything that harms your brand, it's going to get more interactions. People are going to talk about it. People are going to watch it, whatever. And that's what you want. You want eyeballs, right? So if you make me read the thing you've written, it's no different to all the other ones that you've sent to someone else. So that's the dream. But let's talk about parenting, Robbie, if you don't mind. That is what we're here for, even though we do like to go off on tangents. 3 children.
3 children, yep.
And a little bit older than ours. So you've got Kitty, Otto, Arlo.
Yeah, so Kitty's 14, Otto's 11, and Arlo's 8. They're all 3 years apart. All born in April. We've got like a mating season, like animals.
That was deliberate, I'm guessing. That was planned.
It was not necessarily. I don't think. Well, I think we the sort of. I think 3 years was roughly the thing. We didn't tend to get it as accurate, but I think if you're looking ahead, you sort of want to go, well, if they do go to uni, you only want to be paying for one at a time.
Yeah.
So none of them are do 4-year courses. None of them do gap years.
You may not go to St Andrews.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so that by design maybe. You know what I mean? Like it happens. That's the April thing is very hard to do.
My birthday's in April as well. Is it? And our 2 cats, Internet Explorer and Fluffball, are both in April as well.
Internet Explorer.
Yeah.
You're not short on that. Well, when you describe Internet Explorer.
Oh, Inti most of the time. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Like I'll say Internet Explorer. The rest of the family generally say Inti. Bev took them to the vets to register them and said Inti because she's a bottler. My wife. But I will say I'll go to the vets and go, this Internet Explorer. They're going Inti. I'm going, yes, but that's not his full name.
Not real name, yeah. If you got a new cat that was like a bit better, would you call it Chrome?
Maybe. What I liked about Internet Explorer is it sounds both futuristic and
nostalgic.
You know I mean? It's like it's just rubbish.
Internet Explorer sounds decent.
Yeah.
So 3 children.
Yeah.
3. I mean, say this with all due respect. Yeah. I have 2. Spencer has 2. 3 to me, the situation I'm in at the moment, which is I have a 6-year-old and a baby.
Yeah.
3 is insane.
But it's not really, because when you have one kid, it takes up most of your time. The second kid takes up all the rest of the time. There's no more time to lose.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make any difference.
Might as well have 6.
Like, it's not like you're going, I've got hours where I just spend there reading the paper I imagine. You probably haven't. Like, it's not really a difference. What it does is it resets how difficult it is. Because the younger they are, the more intensive it is. Like my middle child has gone to secondary school, and my youngest one, Arlo, who's 8, has just started walking to school by himself now, so we don't have to do school runs. That's like freed that up. But every time you have a child, it resets.
You
that
go
by a
back
few
into
years.
the trenches. That fascinates me though, by the way. So I know I want to talk about your move because you obviously moved out of London, just like we both have as well. But now you're a bit further out in
Norwich.
An 8-year-old walking to school.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have to cross any roads. It's quite a safe neighbourhood. It's Norwich. There isn't any.
You moved to like 1953,
basically. Yeah, but also I think he's probably younger than the others did. But I think you worry a little bit less the more
you have.
You've got a spare.
You got a spare. You've got one reserve.
But how did you instigate that? Well, I'm guessing you walked the route a couple times and then.
He's done the route every day for years. The same route. There's no roads to cross, and it's the schools say. Before that, you're not allowed for them to walk themselves. The school won't allow you, or they won't let them leave.
So they set a minimum age?
They set a minimum age, and this year he can. And he just wanted to, and we were like, all right, fine, if you want to.
And what, is there other kids that are doing the same route or anything, and he can team up with them?
No, not really the same one, but there's a lot of people around. Yeah. There's a lot of people doing the school run around the same sort of time.
He's because maybe at 8 it's a bit young, but certainly my worry would be what if they just go somewhere else? They just don't fancy school.
Yeah. Is he a good boy?
I think he'll
a good boy.
Behave. Yeah, I don't know where he'd go. There's not that much around.
There's nothing to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where back in the days when you were a kid and you wanted to get into trouble, you just went to the park and sat in a roundabout pretty much, didn't you? There wasn't anything else to do.
Trocadero.
Oh yeah, because you're a London boy.
Trocadero is where I got caught.
Yeah. I think did it used to be called Namco? Or did it get rebranded as Namco? I'm sure it was Namco at some point. I had that teacher I talked about used to take us to the theatre. He used to take us to Trocadero. Give us a couple £1 coins.
I used to like that game, that air hockey game. I used to thoroughly enjoy that.
I still play a bit of air hockey now. I'm really good at air
myself
hockey.
At that.
So I'll always, but then you play against the kids, and you don't want to let them win because they won't respect you. So I'll let them win a few points, but then I've never lost to them. I'll always finish it off at the end.
You're looking for some higher caliber competitions.
I am saying, I'm pretty decent at air hockey.
In the Norfolk area, if you want.
Yeah, anyone's around.
I'd say the same for table football. I'm pretty good at table football.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sick of playing with children. I need adults.
Yeah, but have you played it in France? Because I used to think I was all right. You go to France, you're like, mate.
They were really good at table football in France.
Oh, they're unreal.
When I worked at the Copa 90, I think we covered the World Cup of, they call it baby foot or something.
Yeah,
don't they? Mate, you wouldn't believe, if you're not affiliated, you would not believe the way they play. They score the goals with the goalkeeper. Like they do these, or the defence. The scorers are the defensive players, and vice versa.
Really?
So they'll do these crazy. We had a guy in our office who was so good. I'm not lying.
What do they do? Pass it? Because when I play, I'm just spinning it.
They rolling the ball around, passing it around the midfield and stuff. Yeah.
I thought I was pretty good when I started passing it across and all that sort of thing. But I saw this guy just saying this outrageous where he had the ball.
Tactics.
He had the ball with his defenders. He got it up, so he was basically doing kick-ups with the defender in the air, and he goes bang and volleys it over the players in the goal. And I was just
I'm not having that.
No, I swear I saw it with my own eyes.
That also sounds illegal.
If you go on YouTube and you just type in best table football goals, you wouldn't believe the way they play is completely different.
That's my journey home. That's done. That is my journey home.
I'm not that level, but I'm definitely better than my kids and anyone in my family currently.
Thanks,
mate. I've been working very hard.
I've
got my own table. I bought myself one a few years ago. Now it just sits with clothes on it and it never gets used.
That is ludicrous.
But I'm quite keen to talk to you about the third child thing because it's something that Alex and I are literally in very deep discussions about at the moment. I haven't really updated you on this. So we're very much of the.
It feels like that he has a say there.
Well, I know.
I like that. It's important that you keep me in the loop.
Yeah.
My opinion here is very significant.
We think we should go ahead, but you've got the final choice. Sign it off. So let me know.
No, I know Rory's view on it already. Rory was not even up for 2 at one point, and then he changed tact. So I'm really not sure. My honest, where I'm currently, is that. If we did it now, we started to think about getting pregnant now, the gap would be quite nice. It would be similar. I'm one of 3 and Alex is one of 3. So there's a little bit of almost in our brains, that's how it's meant to be sort of thing. The gap would be nice. The gap would be anything from, if we got lucky enough to get pregnant, didn't take too long, it'd be somewhere between 2.5 and 3.5 years, probably between the second and the third. You're always thinking about right now, we're just getting to that point of relief. Youngest is 1.5. He's essentially walking now, almost we're basically through the worst of it.
Yeah.
Do we want to go back in the trenches one more time, or do we want to just be done with it now?
Also, are you still doing your no ejaculating thing?
Yeah, because you're going to struggle. Because that's where I come in.
I'll just tag him in now.
Yeah, I think I might have to change that rule to
Yeah.
have any luck there. If you want an update, I have Jack later since that last.
Brilliant.
Brilliant.
I was thinking that on the way down. I was thinking, I wonder if Spencer. Can I bring it up on the Can I bring it up on the podcast or not?
Good to know.
It's proof that you listen.
Robbie, here's a really practical, boring reason as for Spencer to rationalise here. When you have a third child, right? Holidays become very difficult, and you have to buy a new car.
Yeah, you have to buy a new car. Most cars have 5 seats. It's
But
just
you can't fit 3. You can't fit 3, can you?
Yeah, but it depends what age your oldest one is, because we've always had to where the middle one has been old enough to not have a seatbelt. So if you're too close together, you're in trouble. But it's a bit of an uncomfortable bit for that. But now I'm at the point now where all the car seats are out. Okay. Unreal.
Well, that's
Who are they? You don't have car seats anymore.
Yeah, car seats, mate.
Mate, you're living the life of luxury.
Yeah, mate.
Yeah, my 8-year-old's about 12 foot tall, so he's probably partly right. So he's quite quickly got there.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's
holidays though. Holidays. Really difficult.
Everything's designed for like 4 people families. Like even we were in Canada last week. We went to see this was it some light show thing in Montreal, and the family ticket's like 2 adults, 2 children. So you have to then go buy another single ticket and then put it together and all this sort of stuff. So everything is kind of designed for that. You can get round it, but it does make it more expensive and it makes a bit of a faff, and there's things that you can't do because of it.
But obviously, I'm sure I know what you're going to say here, and I know how much your kids mean to you. I see them in contact. I don't think I've ever met them, but I feel like I know them from videos I've watched. It's obviously net positive.
Oh, yeah. I love it, yeah. I'd have kept going.
Would you?
I'd have had more. I'd be one of those weird people who've got like a tray of slop that they're feeding their kids in a production line every morning and driving around a minibus sort of things. I love it, but it's not my uterus, so I don't get to choose anything on that.
So what was your story? Were you in, Spencer said earlier, you were in London and then you've moved out as the kids?
Yeah, so we were in London, decided we didn't want to raise kids in London. We thought we wanted a bit more of a sort of peaceful sort of life. We moved out to Kent for a bit. Which was quite nice, but it was a village. It was quite quiet, and then we sort of realised, well, once our kids get to be teenagers, it's not the ideal place. It's nice when they're little kids; they can run around the fields and stuff. And then the pandemic happened because my wife works in London, and we were sort of tied to London, and we were like, well, she's not been in work for the last 18 months. We can kind of live anywhere, so we just moved to Norwich, and she just told her work.
And why Norwich? Because I know you.
I went to uni there.
I was going to say,
we knew it.
If it was because of like the Jack Mate connection.
No, I like Happy Hour, but that would be very strong.
Yeah, he's Jack Mate, he's not Jack Best Mate.
Yeah. So no, I went to uni there, and literally like 3 of our previous holidays or breaks had been to Norfolk in the before 3 of our last 4 before we went. So it was. I thought, well,
is that UEA?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where my younger brother went.
I know.
Yeah.
I've many with the sons about it. Yeah.
He so because I always think when I think about Norfolk and Suffolk a little bit, because obviously I'm Essex, so they're kind of the next counties along. Norfolk's a weird one because in distance it's not that far away, but it's quite slow to get there because there's that A road that takes a while. So like football-wise, it's always talked about as a nightmare away trip because it's so slow on those roads. Like, why don't they just? If they did build a decent motorway that went to Norwich, all the house prices.
Good train, though. Good train out of Liverpool.
There's dual carriageway all the way.
Right. Yeah,
but when I was at uni, it was like a single carriageway road for some of it, which was mental. You get stuck behind a tractor, and you're like, okay.
It just feels like almost someone. I feel like there's a reason they haven't put that road in there. Like maybe the people don't want it because it will get too busy.
Well, it is quite nice, the sort of setup, because no one's ever. What do I say? You sort of have to go there. Yeah. Like, no one's passing through really. Yeah. So people go there. And it's sort of, but you also get, because there's nothing else around, you get all the good stuff there. Like you'll get an Apple store. Yeah. Because they're not setting one up in Great Yarmouth and stuff like that. All the bands generally of a certain level will come through when I was at uni and stuff like that. And it's quite exciting. So I love Norwich. It's my favourite city in the country.
And obviously, so I've got a pal, I don't know if you ever crossed paths with him, Tom Mallion, used to work at Copper 90. No. He's a Norfolk lad. He used to be part, not volunteer, he used to be part of the circus at the famous circus. Is it the Hippodrome in Lowestoft? Great Yarmouth.
Great Yarmouth.
Yeah. Went there with him once, actually. His pal, Jack, is the circus leader. He always says he ran away to the circus. He just meant he worked there when he was 16. He still very much lived at home.
When you say work there, like I've got these...
He did the lights.
All right. I he did the lions at first. That doesn't sound real heady.
Jack is his best pal, Jack, who was best man at his wedding, is the circus ringleader. He is the guy that runs the thing. And he's only young. He's only like, I think he's my age, but been doing it all his life. But he speaks very, very affectionately about. In fact, I've got another pal from uni from there as well, and everyone speaks very affectionately.
It's a beautiful part of the world.
It
is a beautiful part of the world.
I love it. Yeah,
and he's funny. Sort of side note, but my pal Tom's dad, he's I think still a radio DJ, one of the. He's basically the real life Alan Partridge.
Partridge.
He is the real life Alan Partridge. He's a lovely guy as well. But that's the first thing I tend to think of when I think of Norwich is Partridge.
Yeah, everyone does. Yeah. You see, like there was a sort of thing on Reddit yesterday. It was like, what's the most beautiful city in the UK? And I was like, well, I'm going to see where Norwich is here. It's about 5 down, which I don't think is bad.
That's pretty good.
But every comment is the pedestrianisation of the high street and all this sort of stuff like that. So it is kind of.
Well, they did a statue. I nearly went there not recently, maybe a year or so ago. They did a temporary Partridge statue.
I think so. Yeah, I didn't see it.
I was going to try and get down there and get a picture, but alas, I didn't get to it. But okay, so I want to talk to you about content strategy with children because it's something I've thought about a lot. So we have slightly different kind of takes on it at the moment. Like Rory will talk about his kids' names. We don't usually use our kids' names, but you kind of keep them out of content, don't you?
Yeah.
Online. Whereas I'll sometimes put my kids in stuff if I think it's not like, I'm not trying to like do it because of the kids, but if they're in it, they're in it. Sort of.
Yeah.
And obviously your kids are involved in your content and there's no right or wrong here. I'm just keen to know, like, what was the thought process the day you first decided there's something we can do on a kind of family vibe?
Well, I think it was easier early on because there weren't people watching, really. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not that big a thing, and they're not in it as much now, really. There's not a right and wrong answer sort of thing. Do you know what I mean? It's different things, but I think the things that they are in, I don't think there's anything that they're going to look back on and go, oh, that's embarrassing or something like that. There's nothing people know about my kids apart from they're really sweet and funny because that's the bits in. And obviously there are bits like all kids where they're not like that, but that's never going to make it.
You hold that back in case they ever do it.
Yeah.
Like,
so the way I've done it, certainly since they've been old enough to reason, has been I'm making this video. If I'm going skiing and they're there, I go, do you want to be in the video? And sometimes they'll say yes, sometimes they'll say no. Whatever sort of thing. And to be honest, if one of them came in a couple of years' time and goes, I don't like the fact there's these videos, I'll just take them all down. I don't care.
My worry with that is, like, not to put fear in you, but it's like once something's on the internet, it's like on the internet, isn't it? People can record it or download it. And I just think once it's out, it's like, I think it's fine to put kids in stuff. I think it's more like, actually, is it as simple as taking stuff down in the future?
No, it's not.
I always remember this really cringe video. It was supposed to be cringe, right? Me and Alex did this Pokemon video when Pokemon Go came out.
Yeah.
And we basically got dressed up in full Pokemon. It was basically taking the mick out of how I've always liked Pokemon, but the world had gone Pokemon mad, right?
Yeah.
I remember I'd been on this shoot with all these YouTubers and they were all playing Pokemon Go on the phone. I didn't even have the app. And we're sitting in, it's like Ali A, big YouTuber, Syndicate, like these big gaming YouTubers, like tens of millions of subs. We're in this room and they go, oh my God, there's no cameras. This is like them just in real life. Oh my God, guys, they're not American. I just go to that point. There's a Blastoise in the park, there's a Blastoise. And they're all like, oh, they all start running. And I was like, I've got to see what the fuss is about. And I'm running around and I just thought it was mental how, because it was this, what do you call it when it's real life, CGI game with the actual Pokemon characters, you got to catch them. I thought it was so funny. So we did like a parody video, me and Al getting really into it, full on gear, going to the woods, going, oh my God, Dad, because there's a real Pikachu. And it was really silly. But it was so silly that I think for whatever reason, and YouTube was like this back then, this is like 10 years ago, people thought we weren't doing it on purpose. And they were like, oh my God, how cringe is this? But the whole point is it's cringe.
Meant to.
Yeah.
But anyway, it kind of backfired and we were getting rinsed for it. So we took it down. But people have written it's there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So the way I deal with things, I never put them in anything I don't control. I never have
That's good.
photos of them in happy hour because ultimately I can't go, can you take that down?
Yeah.
I've been asked in the past to do brand things as a family and I've like said no, because again, you're contracted to having it up a certain amount of time sort of thing. So I put it in things like that. And also there's not really anything particularly I think that could be taken out of context.
I think that's why for you making that decision.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot easier than perhaps for us and specifically me, primarily because you are a very popular person. People like you, people come to see you. We've seen your name littered in virtually every video that we've put up. People want to hear from you. You're not tribal or divisive.
No.
And therefore I think it's almost natural for you to quite easily integrate your family.
Yeah.
I think the reason why me more than you, but equally you at one point were very prominent in the football space, and football is by its very nature tribal.
Yeah.
But my whole football thing is
I can see how that'd be a bigger issue.
Yeah. And that's the fear, really.
Well, that has spilled over, but I've seen it happen to you a few times, and I know you've got the private stuff as well, but like you'll do a post and people will just be ridiculously offensive. And completely out of line.
Yeah.
But you can't control that ultimately.
No, exactly.
Part of your job being the sort of game you're in, is to elicit responses from people. And unfortunately, on the internet, it spills into. I mean, listen, you're not wrong. Like that whole period of my life, that kind of around that Pokemon video, I started doing stuff with West Ham, and I was really one of the first, like in the YouTube game, to start being recognised by the mainstream football, and like hosting the West Ham kit launch. I don't think any YouTuber had done anything like that before. And unfortunately for me, it coincided with a downturn in West Ham's form. And you know what fans are like, they just sort of blame all the wrong people. And it's not just that.
Karen Brady and you got it in the net.
Yeah, I know. No, literally, because West Ham sacked, what's his name? Tony Carr, is it? The guy that was the legendary guy that bought Lampard for.
Yeah.
But he'd been in the job another 20 years after that, right? And then he got let go eventually. I think he basically got put out to pasture. But the same day that happened, and obviously that was big news, I hosted the West Ham kit launch, which was awful because, and I, by the way, just filled in for Mark Wright, who pulled out that morning. I didn't get paid for it or anything. I did it as a favour because it was an honour for me. But it was really badly done. And it was almost like, first of all, I was blamed like I'd organised the kit launch and written the script. I was just reading what I was told. And obviously I'd not been involved, but the whole thing was like, oh, we've got rid of, the legend and we've put a YouTuber in. And that combined with like just the way Twitter was back in the day. Like I spent a year, everything I said, I got called a nonce. The word nonce was on everything I did on Twitter for about a year, 2 years. I'm not the only one that suffered that, but I certainly was at the crux of it.
I know Jack gets a lot of abuse from West Ham fans. Sort of thing,
Jack does a lot of that stuff too.
But so that's what it is. And I think if Jack is in the similar situation, Jack would probably have to therefore have similar concerns that I would have with regard to like family photos and stuff.
I can absolutely see that. Yeah, I think with my stuff, you might not necessarily like my stuff. I can't imagine you're going to be massively offended.
No, it's inoffensive.
No one's going to particularly hate me. I don't.
It's not tribal.
It's not. Just not tribal. It's just nice.
I think you toe that line really, really well. And I think, do your kids? Because obviously your kids are in that generation of. Like, I mean, do they want to be YouTubers? Do they think it's cool their dad's a YouTuber?
I think they've sort of, because I've started. How long have I started doing it? About, I'm going to guess 2018, 2019, maybe. I'm trying to think when I started. So for most of their life sort of thing, it's been something in the background sort of thing. But I think it was only in the last couple of years, 2 or 3 years, that I think they made the connection that the YouTube I do is the same as the YouTube they do. Because I remember like Kitty, my daughter, saying to me, you know that thing you go and do every week? I'm going like, what, the podcast, Happy Hours? She goes, yeah, a YouTuber I was watching, I saw a picture of him and he was at that. I said, oh, who was it? She was like, Tommy Innit. I went, oh, yeah, no, he was on as a guest. And then you can sort of see the clogs clicking, like, oh, right, these are sort of...
know those people, yeah.
And now most of the money I earn goes on my daughter buying various versions of James Marriott's album. Right. So the fact that I'm in that sort of thing, I think is quite cool. I didn't know whether it'd be the most embarrassing thing a father could do or the best thing. They seem to quite like it.
The reality of, I mean, everyone does different content, but your content isn't really made for their age group. No. My content isn't made for my kids. What I find interesting is like I've got these nephews who never really they loved hashtag because we used to give them merch.
Yeah.
But they didn't really know what it was. They weren't really into it. And then they realized, like, for example, I commentate the Sidemen game. So like I took one of my nephews to that. And in that, he was sort of like, he loved the fact that some of his mates knew who I was.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, oh yeah, that's my uncle. And, but he didn't necessarily watch the content.
Yeah.
And then he was like, I put him in a room with Mr. Beast, with Mark Rober, like this big, these are the guys they're actually infatuated with. Yeah. And I think that suddenly made them go like, oh wait, he's actually doing stuff that's quite close to what I love.
But the thing is, you can never be cool. Do you find that? Even though like being on Jack Mate's pod is a huge thing, and it makes you cool to some people, to your own children, like I imagine that Gene Gallagher thinks Liam Gallagher's a Wally.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe. I wouldn't say that they like try to emulate me. Go, this guy's a legend. Sorry, you can't believe how much of a legend my dad is. But I think they quite. I think they like me. Yeah. I think they quite like
you're a great
the things
dad.
I do. Yeah, but I think it's kids are generally just not. I think they're just generally not that impressed by things. No. I remember I'm good friends with the band. Do you remember the band Star Sailor? Are you too young?
Yeah.
Good friends with them, and I took my daughter Kitty a good few years ago, which is probably about 8. I took her to a festival they're playing at Victorious, and they're on the main stage of Victorious, like tens of thousands of people there. I've got photos of her. She just sat on the stage with the band playing. She looks so bored out of it, and you can just see over her head like 30,000 people looking at the stage, going crazy. And I was saying, I know like you're a bit bored now, but this will be cool in the future, sort of thing.
I did the same thing with my nephew in that I walked out with him. You know, I played in one of the last games ever at Bowling Ground, which was England versus Germany 50-year anniversary game. And it had like...
What did you play in that?
Yeah. And it had like some big legends, like ex-England and Germany international. It had massive celebrities there, like Russell Brand was there, like huge names. And I walked out with my nephew at the time, still my nephew, but he must have been about 5 or 6. Just doesn't remember it happened, just not impressed by it at all. And I'm like, how cool that was. One of the last games ever packed out Bowling Ground. But yeah, I think the kids, they have different things, different cool barometers.
Yeah.
It's not the same stuff we think.
My kids, the thing that united all 3 of them was that they like Max Fosh's videos. So they got to meet Max Fosh with me like that. They like that,
It's a good way of getting the good.
Yeah. Do you think it's hard to marry up being a YouTuber with a parent? Do you think it's harder than...
I think one of the reasons I've started doing it was to have a lifestyle that I could spend time with my kids.
Yes. Yeah.
And to spend as much time at home. Because occasionally they will say, why are you going to London again? I go like, I'm almost always at home. Like I'll go and do little bits and that, but there's not many parents who are lucky enough to be able to do both school runs.
So they don't know that any different.
No, and they sort of, and I think it's important to show them the business side of it, to say, look, like we just come back from holiday in Canada, when I was age, I never went out of Europe, sort of thing like that. But I was quite busy at the end of last year, but I've sort of spelled out and said, because I was really busy, remember a few months ago, and I was away quite a bit, we can afford to have a better, a more exotic holiday, if you will, sort of thing like that. So I think it's important for them to understand that there's a connection between work and
there's a give
money,
and take,
and all that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. What about the balance of the boys and girls combo? Because obviously he's all girls, I'm all boys, right? And you've got a girl and 2 boys.
Yep.
And do you believe? I know your daughter's the oldest.
Yeah.
Do you believe that there is one that's harder than the other? Do you think it's a nice balance with the 2 boys almost?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if one is harder or not. So when we were first having kids, I thought I'd want to have a boy because I get boys. I grew up with a brother, and I understand that. I had a daughter. I thought, actually, I really like this. I'd like to have another daughter. That was a boy, and I'd like to have another daughter now. So I basically got whatever I didn't want each time. But I don't find one's easy than the others. I mean, Kitty, my daughter's quite chill. She's not like a sort of going out getting drunk in the park sort of teenage girl sort of thing. And I don't think she will go that way sort of thing. So I'm not finding it particularly different, to be honest. I've got different interests in that. But
yeah. I think the chat that Alex and I are having now is.
Does she want a girl? Is that part of the motivation?
We both do. That's what I was saying. It's a big ask, but if someone could guarantee me now, healthy child, no health concerns, guaranteed girl, I'd shake their hand and go, yeah, we'll do.
What about all of the above but boy?
I don't know. And I'm not obviously.
No, what would you do though?
No, so
I guarantee you all of the health things, which is obviously the priority.
I'm honestly 50-50 at this point. If it happened, obviously I'd embrace it, it'd be fine. But like 3 boys, I definitely think Alex could handle being a mum of 3 boys, like in the sense of she had 2 brothers growing up. She's like always into sports and stuff. I think she'd embrace it and be fine. But I know having a girl would be really good for me, and it would be a nice balance to our family and kind of be like the icing on the cake if you're lucky enough to do that. But do we need another boy? Our whole thing at the moment is just, do we want to now rebuild our life for getting back to having some time again and balance out of the baby stage? Or do we want to go back in one more time? We really haven't decided.
I reckon you should just do it.
Yeah, of course.
That's my.
I seem to be
more involved in this. No. Sorry, I was shaking hands on you specifically.
No, I will tell him we're back ejaculating.
I will never.
Get yourself ready, love.
I will never go back. I just can't.
You're done.
I'm so done, Robbie. I'm so done.
Yeah.
But you said that after 1.
I did, but I did also wait 6 years.
Yeah.
I did also wait. It took 6 years for me to consider it because
that's mad though to restart after that. Then you're properly.
There is that is true. But do you know what I think happens? And this is when I realised quite how intelligent I am compared to everyone else I've ever met. Nature is very clever, and it tricks people into forgetting how hard it is. So I honestly believe that my wife forgot the sleepless nights, the colic. I think she forgot because nature made her go, oh, our daughter is so beautiful and I love her and I'd love to have another one.
Yeah.
I remembered. I was cleverer than nature.
I know.
Helicopters going off about.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
it was like a war zone. We lived in a flat in like Swiss Cottage, like Borough Camden. It was high up in the sky. Couldn't get the buggy up there. So expensive. I was unemployed. You know, it was like really tough.
Yeah.
And I can go back. I can transport to that place where we're arguing with the neighbour because the buggy's blocking the door, and then we had to keep the buggy in the car because we couldn't get. And we're in a 1-bedroom flat, and there was nowhere to. I can go back there. Unemployed as well, which was terrible.
Yeah.
I can go back there like that. Whereas I think that Victoria, my wife, has kind of forgotten, or at least put it in a part of her brain.
I think that's what women are really good at. That they basically prioritise the loving, positive side of life, and our job is to bring them back down to earth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's actually
we
that
suppress
dead weight
yeah.
of misery. Yeah,
you need to find a middle ground. Obviously, is the dream.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you had any experiences with like colic or anything like that. We never did. So that's obviously Rory's.
I didn't go to sleep for 2 years. I didn't. Did you? Like any experience of your three children?
Yeah, early on, obviously, it's hard. Like we didn't really have the colic side of things, and I've got a book that I had a book. It's not in print anymore, but I find copies of it online and give it to new parents that had a sleep plan sort of thing.
Yeah.
So all of mine really was sleeping through from 12 weeks.
12 weeks?
That's outrageous. Yeah,
get out. Just get out.
There's people throwing this podcast across the room now.
I did the night.
Routine worked. That's that.
12 weeks. I did the night last night.
The book was by someone Hogg or something. H-O-G-G.
That'll be enough. Google it. Hogg sleep book.
Hogg sleep book. But yeah, it was essentially putting them down because at first we didn't have a clue. Remember when our daughter came home? Well, she was delivered at home accidentally. Like we unplanned.
Yes, I was going to
home
ask you about this. This is
yeah.
This is
what just came along?
Yeah. So tell the
yeah. Please, I want to
know. We I think around the sort of time, a week either side or something of when the baby was due, and my wife woke me up in the middle of the night and said, I think waters are broken. We're like, okay, yeah, that is surprisingly wet.
Not me.
So, me. And for once, I've not been drinking, so we should be fine. So we phoned up the hospital and said, hey, our wife's pregnant, water's just broken. And they went, yeah, it does sound like, oh my God, I've got to go. And hung up. We're like, I don't know what's happened, but it can't be that serious. So let's just go back to sleep. So we went to sleep for a bit. Just went to the hospital the next day. Thought we'd just go in. So we got the bus to the hospital, and we went in and they didn't even examine her. They said, yeah, it sounds like waters are broken. Just go away. If labour should hopefully start soon. If it doesn't, come back within 24 hours because of the risk of infection and all that. So we went to the pub. My wife we met some friends for lunch. My wife had a shandy. She hadn't been drinking at all. She went, baby's done now, isn't it? Sort of thing. So have a shandy. So we left there about 2, got home at 2:30. And an afternoon, and she took a couple of paracetamol because she was going to go to sleep and have a little rest, and then straight away the contractions started. I don't know if you remember from like all that sort of time, but they say like you don't go straight to the hospital. You wait till they're like it was like 3 minutes apart.
3 minutes,
dilated and all that.
Yeah, lasting every lasting a minute, 3 minutes. But I can't remember. There's supposed to be like a 3 minute gap or something. Is what I remember about it. And they started off like they're 15 minutes apart. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. But it went really quickly from 15 to all this to like very, very close, to less to like a minute apart. We're like, I know they said to wait for a few hours, but I think we should probably call the hospital because like also Bev was on the floor. She's in our bathroom because we just have new carpets in the other room and go in there to do your dirty business. So she was in there and she was on the floor in agony. I was thinking, like, you hear stories like in the early stage of pregnancy where people went for a walk in the woods to take her mind off. Thinking, I don't think she's that much of a pussy that everyone else is going for a walk. And she's like on the floor in agony sort of thing. But you don't know, do you? So you're thinking, oh. So we phoned up the hospital and they were quite dismissive. They were like, oh, first time mum, is it? Okay, come in if you want. Sort of thing.
This is the thing that I think a lot of people don't understand because the movies paint a very different picture. So your waters are broken at this point.
Yeah.
So in the movies, waters break, you go to the hospital, you have the baby. It doesn't necessarily didn't work like that for us. Your waters are broken, you've gone into hospital, you've then been sent home.
Yeah.
You've then had this clearly kind of shortening of the contraction period.
Yeah.
You're ringing up the hospital and they're still not telling you to come in.
Yeah. So we said, look, we're going to go in. So I thought, well, we better get the car seat ready in case you don't have the baby. So we'd been given 2 car seats by friends, and they're both in the shed. So I went, I'll just go and get the car seats.
Do a quick YouTube review of which is the best car seat.
So I went in there, and I was literally in the shed going, right, this one's a bit newer and cleaner, but this one looks like it's got better safety facilities. So which one is it? And I was in there for like, probably not for that, like a minute or something like that. I don't know, maybe they'll probably go with this one sort of thing. So I just went in the house, and Bev was shouting, Robbie. So I ran up the stairs, went to the bathroom. She had baby's hair. And there was like just a head. She had on all fours, with a head just sticking out. That was not there before.
Oh my,
like, oh my God. So I got my hands and knees. I don't know, dialed 999 before the person answered. This baby just goes, whoop. Just caught this baby, and then the guy answered the phone.
What did you do next?
The guy answered the phone and said, like, what do you want? Ambulance. I said, oh, ambulance. They said, I've just delivered a baby. They went, right. I said, they went through, okay, is the baby breathing? Is it crying? I think, yep. They say, like, what colour is it? So, as in, like, was it blue? Not black, actually. I've got a few questions for my wife. No, so it was, is it baby blue? Is it, I was thinking a sort of normal colour.
I wouldn't know what to do with a baby in that circumstance. Like, what did you do?
Oh, just holding it.
So
I was just crying. So I was holding this baby.
It was crying. It was
exactly. Yeah.
It wasn't.
And it was like, it was so intense. Like, I was just on the phone going, and they were saying, like, go and get a towel, wipe the baby to wrap up the baby, another one to wipe its mouth, all this sort of stuff. I went through this sort of list of things to do.
For example, like, how do you go and get a towel? Because would you hand the baby to your wife? Because you've only got you.
You're in the bathroom already, aren't you?
Oh,
so we got lucky. Yeah, so we did that. So
I have to go. Where do we keep the towel?
Yeah. Got an old rag from the garage. So we had the baby there. Did all this sort of stuff. And credit to Ferry Non-Bio, how many towels we rescued, by the way, out of this. But so we did all.
Picture out of there.
Yeah. If you're watching, great best adverts apparently. So we did all this stuff through, and then the guy on the phone said, right, okay, the ambulance is coming. Paramedics, they'll be here in about 1 minute. Go downstairs, open the door, and come back up to be with mum and baby. So okay, so. But then, like, the umbilical cord. By the way, they said on the phone 3 times, they said, don't cut the umbilical cord. So I don't know what bloke in the past has gone to the garage and got some shears and gone, I know what you're going to say next, I've done it, sort of thing. But,
so you don't cut the umbilical cord?
No, you don't cut the umbilical cord, no. Right. So you just leave it on. But then it was all sort of tangled up. So you have to go, oh, right, can't pass it that way because you've got this thing hanging out of you.
You get a phone charger and you've got to...
Yeah, exactly. Like that. So I had to pass it through Bev's legs to her. So, and we went down there, opened the door, came back up. And they said, the guy said, right, is everything all right? Everything okay? Yeah, everything's fine. And he said, what have you had, by the way? And this about 5 minutes, this has been since the birth. He said, what have you had, by the way? Where we go? I went, oh, I don't know.
Yeah, you will.
And checked. I said, Bev, she goes, oh, I haven't looked. I had to look and go. We literally, like, not many kids that are alive for 5 minutes before anyone bothers to check what.
No,
I can see why it's the least important thing at that moment, though.
But then we've got lovely photos of like 3, because like an ambulance turned up in an emergency response car and stuff. We've got like photos of paramedics in our bathroom and all this sort of stuff with Kitty and all this sort of stuff. And it was really intense, but at the time you're just sort of focused on it. But once they're in there and they take the baby and they're like doing checks and all this sort of stuff like that, I did just go into a room on my own and just have a little cry.
Oh, of course you
did.
I cried my eyes out when my boy was born, and I had nothing to do with it.
But you're just sort of thinking, thank God everything was...
Well, that's
very
fine.
funny. You weighing up the pros and cons of the 2 different car seats.
Yeah.
He's in there going, Robbie. Robbie.
But it was but it was like literally a minute from being in the shed to having a child in my arms.
See, obviously that's like very different experience to our 2 births. One which was hours and hours of pushing, and then had to be forceps delivery, and the second one ended up with an emergency C-section. So, I mean, it sounds like, not that it's ever a dream to be thrust into that situation you're in. It was like the dream version of it, whereas came quick, healthy, because I can't imagine being in that position, and for example, it coming out and not breathing, or like being a different colour or something. You're like, oh my God, it needs help. What do you do?
I've got a friend who had that happen in hospital, and they said they were so calm, like that, because it obviously happens with it. They just took it away, did a little thing to it, and it was fine. But he said that 30 seconds is like
the worst.
Yeah, it was horrendous.
But also, thank God the ambulance got there so quickly as well, because you hear maybe less so back then, but recent years, and I would like to think something like that would always be prioritised. But sometimes people are waiting for so many hours for ambulances and stuff now.
Well, I think we did get very lucky, and then we had the other 2 we had at home births anyway, because we had one at home. We might as well just do the others.
Did it put you off at all? Like, I guess it wasn't too bad an experience.
No, because it was quite nice. It's quite, because then the paramedics just, after that first one, I think because they panicked the hospital a bit because they told us not to bother they've been a bit dismissive of it. They were like properly like, come in, welcome, sort of thing.
You got your own suite.
I've got a friend who, my friend Kate, who was turned away from Chelsea and Westminster Hospital. They said come back in a bit, and she ended up having a baby outside Stamford Bridge. Just pulled the car over at 1 a.m. with loads of drunk people walking past, going like this sort of thing. So, and then she went back. And she said, walked back into basically half an hour after being sent away. She walked back in
with a baby,
with this baby. So that's an umbilical cord. When I told you I was having a baby,
just giving a baby, just had a baby in front of the Bovril gate. Thanks for that. Thanks very much.
You've got to sometimes, not in an aggressive way, but you've got to stand up to these people sometimes because, particularly with the NHS the way it is, everyone's overworked, overstaffed. It's completely understandable and reasonable that like they're not going to prioritise your baby over the other 1,000 babies they're working on that week. But you know your body if you're the mum. You know what's going on. Sometimes you've got to go, listen, you sent me away. I'm not going away because of this. And then maybe you get the treatment you deserve.
And you don't know because you think, I don't know. It's a totally new situation for you, isn't it? But there's this bit, I remember when we did take it in, the woman, the midwife who was sort of looking, who sort of took her and was washing. It was been quite rough washing sort of thing. I remember thinking at the time, that's a bit weird. Yeah. Like, but also I don't know baby sort of thing. Whereas if it happened later on, I'd be going, sorry, can you not do that sort of thing.
My baby.
But with the other two, when we had them, like with the second one, he said, do you want to cut the umbilical cord? And I was like, I mean, I kind of delivered the other one, so this feels like a downgrade, doesn't it? Yeah, like 100% record midwife here. Yeah. I've done your job, don't worry about it.
Yeah, it doesn't need more things.
Yeah. No, but if anyone's interested, anyone needs a helping hand, just give it a shout.
I mean, I think that's such a cool story to be able to say that you literally delivered your firstborn. And then, you did the subsequent ones at home. I was born at home. My older brother was born at home, but my mum had some health issues with my younger brother, so she wanted to, but she couldn't that time.
Yeah.
But like it's just quite unusual, and it's less. A lot of people being born at home nowadays. A lot of people doing the water births and all these things.
And years ago, it was very common.
Yeah.
If you were born in 1933, you were almost definitely born at home.
Yeah. But it's mad as well because if you have a home birth, they're like gone like 45 minutes or so after the people, the midwives and that. You sort of go, because with the seconds, because the first one comes so quickly, we got like some special number to phone that was like, if you go to labour, call this number immediately and someone will come straight. Yeah. Because like it could be very, very quick. The other labours were very quick as well. But like they're gone in like 45 minutes and like you're just there with like a human being.
Yeah.
So
but I remember feeling like that when my first daughter was born.
Yeah.
I remember feeling exactly like that. It was all very quick. It happened on a Saturday night. Arsenal beat Chelsea. And I remember being in the hospital 2-0. Remember being in the hospital, sort of keeping an eye on that. And by the next morning, this is in Hampstead, Royal Free. By the next morning, they basically went, okay, you're clear. Like they did a hearing test and they went, you can go.
Yeah.
And I went, and I actually said, I was like, with the baby.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah. I was like, wait, we're not ready to do that. What are you talking about? Go home with the baby.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It feels like this shouldn't be allowed. I mean, it's like, it reminds me of the first time.
In a couple of weeks.
Reminds me of the first time I ever hired a van. I remember driving out thinking, this is mental.
I can't drive this.
Someone should step in here. The government should get involved in this.
Just given me a van.
Yeah.
I can't drive this.
You might, I don't know if you're old enough or not, but there's certain licenses that allow you basically to drive like any vehicle, right? At a certain age, they changed. Like my license doesn't allow me to drive anything beyond like whatever tonnage it is, 10 tons or something. But in certain people, just because they're born when they were born,
they can just drive anyway.
Drive a lorry. That's mad, isn't it?
No, there is that moment though. It's very weird. It must be even weirder at home because they walk out the door and you're just like, cup of tea.
Yeah.
Whereas
there's nothing to do. Just they're like.
It's almost like you got a new lodger in your house and you're like, not really sure.
I honestly believe though. I remember I was obviously second time around. It's different, but I honestly thought when she said you can go, I honestly thought she meant I could go with Victoria and they'd look after the baby for a little bit.
Just for a couple of years.
Yeah. It was like
pick up when I was 18. Yeah.
Yeah, it's you know that photo that seems to be now an obligatory picture that people put on Instagram where they're walking out holding the basket. And that moment, it's an amazing feeling, but it's almost like a life begins, isn't it? It's like whatever happened prior to that photo, this is now real life. Like this is now in the deep end with it all.
Yeah, there's proper,
jeopardy. Like
things go
matter.
Wrong, it affects
things matter
else
now.
Yeah.
And the things that used to matter don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I lost immediately with my daughter. I lost all, not ambition. That's the wrong word, but all concern for work.
Yeah.
Like before, it was like I want to make something important. Now I don't care.
We talk about that quite a lot on this pod. It's like it's like Rory often says, it was like the making of him having a child because he had that motivation.
It was
that maybe
different
didn't
for me,
have before.
Rob, because I was unemployed.
Yeah.
So she was born. My daughter Clementine was born, and that was the sort of trigger for me to try and get my act together.
Yeah.
Prior to that, it was lackluster.
Yeah.
But that we do also agree that the things that mattered massively before don't.
Yeah, I would say that. Again, I wouldn't use the word sort of work ethic, but I'd say like work was my life.
Yeah.
And there was nothing else that would even come close second. Whereas now it's not even close to number. Well, it goes like obviously family number one, but then even underneath that, there's subsets of things that affect and help the family. Work is quite low down, but I do have a different kind. I'm not just doing it for myself anymore. I'm doing it for other people. So I think it counterbalances quite nicely. I just try, if possible, to fit my work in a more, sociably acceptable amount of hours.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of being a YouTuber, I suppose. It's the beauty and the pitfall. You could, in theory, work every hour God sends.
Yeah.
But nobody is making you work every hour.
Yes, exactly. And that's why, like, my channel's grown quite a bit in the last year, sort of thing. So there's a bit more money coming in. I was like, okay, that means I can do less videos rather than before. I get more money. It's like I can just do a little bit less sort of thing. But the reality is, most of the time when I'm at home, I don't work after school pickup really. I'll normally hang out with them from 3 onwards. Sort of thing. I'll try and fit everything in the day.
Such
sort
a
of
rare,
so lucky. Yeah.
Generations before us, very rare to have that.
Yeah.
The nice thing about content, or like being so attached to our content and being so like directly influenced by how well that content does, is that if you're in a normal job, a traditional setup, you've got a certain amount of years you might have to grind before you get a promotion. That promotion might come with some more money, etc., but it's not really in your control in the same way. You can have a good month and it can change everything on YouTube as long as you've got the plan for it. But I want to do a bit of a side track move here and talk about karate. Because we talk about jiu-jitsu. I talk about jiu-jitsu quite a lot. I got into it a few years ago. I really always wanted to do martial art, but the thing that actually made me do it was the fact that I had a kid and I knew I wanted them to do it. So I felt I need to know what I was talking about. You've had a sort of similar experience with karate.
Yeah.
Well, are you a karate kid?
I am now. I'm
a
karate man. And now, but as in very recently.
Are you rock hard? Are you gonna like?
I have a red belt.
Do you?
I don't know what that means, but it sounds good.
Really?
So basically, a few months ago, we watched all the Karate Kid films. It was literally from that sort of thing, and Cobra Kai and all this. And my son Otto wanted to try karate. And
he was how old at the time?
He was 11, and Arlo. Okay. So and Arlo was interested as well. So the two of them, I said, I'll take it on to karate. So I found I did actually do like about 2 months of karate when I was at uni in Norwich. And weirdly, it's the same guy running it who was like, he's probably like a couple of years older than me, but now it's this massive karate school that spans across Norwich. And really lovely guy. But so we joined. I said, I'll take him along to this. I went along to the first one and just watched them for a bit, looked on Instagram for a bit. I think it's like it's something that you can do at all ages. So they mix things. They have some adults. It's mostly kids, but there's some adults around as well. I thought, you know what? If I'm going to come here if I'm going to be doing 2 hours a week of sat in a karate room, I might as well just join in. You get something you can do with them.
Yeah.
So I love this.
We're all red belts now, and in a couple of weeks' time, we're going to try and become orange belts.
No, and you have to do so. It's different to jiu-jitsu. You basically do a grading to go up.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have to pass certain tests.
Yeah, I got a distinction in my last one. Better than the kids.
Well done. Are you better than the kids? Yeah.
I got a distinction.
And they didn't.
You make. I reckon I could beat them up. Yeah. But apparently, I'm going to get a trophy from that. It's not turned up yet. But I'm going to get a trophy, which will be my first sporting trophy since 1991.
So what? The three of you go off and do karate?
Yeah.
In the same class?
Yeah.
That's sensational. That is absolutely brilliant.
It's good fun. Yeah. It's because it's like you're going to be there anyway. You might as well join in.
So I haven't got that set up because I love, if my kids were a bit older, so the oldest is 8-9 months into jiu-jitsu now. He's got his first stripe, different belt system in jiu-jitsu, but I can't do it at the same time.
No.
He's too young. Maybe in a year or two I can, like, if there's a class going on at the same time, I could sort of do it, but there isn't at the moment. So I actually, if anything, have paused my jiu-jitsu journey in order to allow him to do his, so I take him to it. Among many motivations for it, one of the things I love, and I've seen this firsthand with other dad-son combos, is the fact that, and I'm sure you could do this karate as well, is that when he's a bit older, we can literally, which is called a roll, but we can have a roll together, and we can actually, there's probably going to be like maybe if I'm lucky, 10-year
10-year window.
we can have good little wrestles, and it might actually be quite close.
Yeah.
And then obviously they'll go past me, which is the plan. But there'll be that sweet spot. I used to dream of doing that with football, but actually timing-wise is so unlikely. Like when I played Sunday League, a friend of mine, Rich Beck, who we talk about, listens to this show a lot, used to play for Hashtag. He, when we were at uni, we played for his dad's Sunday team, and his dad was still a little bit playing every now and then.
Love that. Like Idaho Johnson and his dad.
Yeah. But his dad would have been like mid-late 50s, and he was still going. He was like a proper football man, and he was a decent little target man and kept it going. Only a handful of games, but I just remember thinking, that is just
that's poetry. That's
Well, I'm really into skiing. I think one of the main reasons I've had kids is so that I can have people to ski with, like that sort of thing. And we're getting they're getting better at it, sort of thing like that. You'll have that sort of thing that you can do. You can ski to well into your 70s.
Great one. I've done that with my dad many times. Yeah, that's amazing.
Which I'm really looking forward to. I was talking to sort of a friend about the other day, saying, I think it's the main reason I've had kids actually was to do this. He goes, because it's less of a family, more of an academy you've got going on. It's like,
yeah, the Robbie Knox ski school.
Yeah,
I know you're a big skier, but yeah, the more things like that you can add, karate, skiing, whatever it is.
I absolutely love that. I really do.
Yeah, it goes so quickly, the time that you've got with them. Like I remember that story about my daughter. I remember it so clearly and all that. She's 14. She'll probably move out in 4 years.
Yeah.
It's almost all gone, sort of thing. So the chance if you get to have an extra couple of hours a week with them,
and you could potentially keep it up after what if they how old you are on time they've all flown the nest.
I probably won't. I'll probably just stop. I'm not that. I don't really. I'm not that fast. I might do. You never know. But yeah, it's a good thing to.
I think it's great. I remember when my younger brother started, because me and my older brother were more football. Saunders likes football now, but at the time he didn't. He was much more of a music guy. My dad had no background in music whatsoever. Saunders is like a really talented multi-instrumentalist singer, like do everything. My dad sort of had to get into it. He wouldn't take part in it. He didn't learn anything, but he'd be the guy, the roadie, driving him around with all the gear, helping him with all the gigs. And it's like, I remember thinking, like, does he actually like this? But you do, because it's your son and you take an interest and his son was really good at it. But at least with what you're doing, there's something you can actually physically, tangibly do with them. And it may be better than football, because in football you need other people. You can play karate or jiu-jitsu, whatever it is, purely on your own.
Yeah. It's on every night in Norwich. Every day they have a class. So literally any day we can go. Do you want to go to karate?
So you got your two boys doing it.
Yeah.
And Kitty not interested?
Originally, when we first discussed it, she was a bit interested, but she does too much.
Yeah.
Like she's like in like all sorts of clubs, and she's like a bit over. We went a bit too hard on the girls can do anything books when she was younger, and it's gone too far the other way. We're like, maybe not anything. We should not the confidence a little bit. Draw it back. So she's a bit too confident for my liking.
Yeah, that's good.
But yeah, so no, just the two of them. Yeah.
And what is the journey to black belt like in karate? Because my uncle's actually a black belt karate.
Okay, so
I think second dan or third dan or something.
I don't know how many you can grade early on. You can grade quite quickly. I only started a few months ago, and we're about to go. There's like 10 coloured belts up until I think black belt's the 10th, maybe. So you can by Christmas I could be like 3 or 4 belts in, sort of thing like that. So you get, and then it starts to slow a little bit once you get.
Do you feel a bit harder? When you're like walking around London, do you feel like if you don't mess with me because I'll do a roundhouse kick on you?
No, I think I feel slightly more flexible, because the flexibility stuff. I've always been really inflexible, as in I've never been able to touch my toes. That I feel benefits from that.
Yeah,
and I think I'd probably be marginally better if someone attacked me, but hopefully no one's going to attack me.
True martial artists know that you learn it to not use it. You don't want to use it, but it is more about.
If I could, if I was a black belt, I'd just
go to prison pretty quickly.
Kick everybody's ass.
Because you're a lethal weapon if you do that. You actually be tried differently in court.
Would you really?
Yeah. What happened to Mike Bisping, the UFC fighter, because he went to prison for a month, didn't he? Very early on in his life, before I just read his book, before he was anywhere near the UFC, I think before the UFC maybe even existed, he got in a fight outside a bar, and he got treated a lot harsher than the rest of them because he was training martial arts. Yeah. But yeah, you don't want to really use it. I definitely felt, because jiu-jitsu is so hands-on, you're literally on someone constantly. I've even noticed, weirdly, considering my age, I've got better at football.
Right, yeah.
Because I actually am way more quick to get a shoulder barge in a comfortable. Maybe when you're younger, those things are considered really aggressive in football, but now it's like, mate, I've just had a guy strangling me. I'm not bothered about you. Get away from me. Yeah, but it's not conscious. It's just
these things go to get physical things. They all go together, don't they? They'll benefit in different ways, sort of thing like that.
That's the idea of starting them young, and even 11 is still a really good age and a young age to start it. And I actually sometimes think I might have gone too young with my oldest, because he hasn't got a thriving passion for jiu-jitsu. He's not going on about it every day. I'm taking him to jiu-jitsu.
It's all right. It's just exposing him to it.
I don't think mine have a thriving passion for it. Like we were going to go last night because they're a bit jet lagged. I just said, okay, we'll cancel it. We'll go on Saturday instead, sort of thing. But I think because it's two of them, it's more like if you don't want to come, if you don't want to come, you don't have to, but you won't be able to do the grading. And me and your brother are going to.
He's gonna
so then it's like, well, I'm obviously going to come then because I'm not going to be one level less than the rest of you.
Yeah, that's what I'm using with mine. Is you get in between each belt, you get stripes. I'm sort of like, you don't have to come, but he got his first stripe, thankfully. So it's like, you want another stripe? You got to go. And he's like, go on then. It just gets him over the edge motivation-wise. Well, Robbie, it's lived up to the hype this episode.
Thank you. I've had a lovely time. Thank you. I wanted to come for ages, but you can't really ask to come on a podcast, can you?
You can.
You have to wait till you get
I've
asked.
done it before.
Have you?
Yeah, I went on a podcast recently called Business for Sport, which was really good actually for business. And I asked them, I said, can I come on, please?
Yeah, because I know you. It'd be awkward if you said no, wouldn't it? That'd be awful.
I never would say no.
I'd have to block you.
No, it's been a great episode. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I've had a really nice time.
And we'd love to get you on another time. Maybe you'll be a couple belts more into your karate journey. Yeah, demonstrate some sort of karate chop for us or something.
We haven't done that so far.
Are you going to do the through bricks thing?
No. I think the next belt you learn how to rip someone's heart out and show it to them before they die. I think that's orange belt stuff. Yeah. Just remember, I got presents for you. I've got these.
No way.
Right, check this out.
Oh my God, what a legend!
This is exciting.
No one's ever bought presents.
No one's ever. You set the bar.
Let's wait. Let's wait for this.
This is incredibly kind.
Open it up.
What is this?
What have we got?
This is my new thing. I've noticed something on the wall, but I've had these made recently, and I'm giving them to people that I do stuff with.
Whoa! We've got a medal, Spence.
It's
the Robbie Knox Super Friend
medals.
Yes.
So anyone I do videos with,
that.
I give them a medal.
That'll go up. That'll go up on the set.
You got a medal up there already, haven't you? Sort of thing. So
no, this
you don't have
is going to supersede
that. For the episode, it's like when you get a silver medal. At
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Thank you very much. It's an honour.
Good.
So have you only just started doing these? Are we the first to have them bestowed on us?
I think you might. I've given them to like a couple of people I know, but like I'm the first in the sort of.
You're giving it to people not for content in real life. You just.
I've given a couple of like a friend or something. I might give. I'm trying to think if I have or not. Maybe I have.
The idea of you doing this in real life with no cameras are rolling. Is
yeah. I think. Do you know what? I think I gave Tubes one the other day.
That's good.
I love Tubes.
We're in the same category as Tubes. I'm very happy.
Yeah. Well, so there you go. But yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, mate. That's very nice of you.
Honoured.
We have to get him a present next time.
Yeah, we should start getting presents for our guests. That's showed us up a bit.
Next time.
See that?
That's class. Yeah, that's class.
That's class.
He can't talk anymore. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you on the next episode of Internet Dads.